Hey everybody, welcome back to the Pardon Will Live. I'm your host, David Lilly, aka Pardon Will. It's Sunday night, guys. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna be talking about what everyone's been talking about this week. So I told you it was last week. We're gonna cover the debate, give you my quick thoughts, and all that, and then kind of go into what I really think's going on. But before you do that, if you love this podcast, do me a favor and go to like and subscribe, whatever you're watching this on. I'm on Twitch, YouTube. I was on Facebook. I don't know what Facebook happened. Somebody messed something up. I may have boomered it myself and hit a button that I shouldn't have. Facebook's no longer working, but X, YouTube, and as soon as I figure out how to stream on Rumble, I'll be there. But either way, thanks for tuning in. If you do like this podcast and you want to share it, this thing is sponsored by. Let's go to our quick sponsor. What do we have for sponsor today? Oh, hey, look at that. It's me. Go to pardonwell.com. You can go here. And then if you want all these cool stuff at the top, you can check everything out. Some of it's set up, some of it's not. Just straight transparency there. You can go to merch, though. Got a merch. And this is all the cool merch designs. I've got a bunch more coming up. And I had one I was going to premiere tonight, but got hit with some copyright stuff. So I gotta adjust my editing, but you can go there, check out these cool shirts, purchase one of those. That's how you can support this podcast, and all that good jazz. So I appreciate that, guys. Anyway, it is Sunday night. We're gonna talk about the debate, but I'm gonna try to do it real quickly because I know if you're on the internet for more than 3 seconds, you most likely saw something about the debate. If you didn't watch it already, everyone's like it's super historical, which it was. But the problem is it's Sunday, and that debate was like Thursday night. So everyone's sat on it for a while. Things have changed. Things have shifted. And so the really the more important thing, I mean, debates they're cool and all, and they're fun, and it was a good time. But the real meltdown wasn't Joe Biden. It's the corporate press. And that's the one I really want to talk about tonight. So we're gonna check in on that. But before we get started, let's talk about the acolyte. No, I'm joking. I haven't seen it since that last time. No Acolyte. If you guys have been watching The Acolyte and you just want to let me know, put it in the chat. Be like, The Acolyte is horrifically awful. You can put it in there. Tell me the things you like about it. Either way, it's Star Wars. It's not going anywhere. So if there's nothing else you want to watch and like, sure do want to see some space lesbian witches, go watch The Acolyte. Be good times. Quick thoughts on the debate. I know everyone saw it. For the most part. And if you haven't seen it, go watch it or not. Just listen to me. I'll tell you my thoughts. Yeah, Trump did pretty good, a lot more than we thought. Everyone noticed that. Biden did awful. That wasn't a surprise to most of us. Well, I take that back. It was a little bit of a surprise because we all thought he was going to be juiced to high heaven, the way he did with the State of the Union. And that whatever the State of the Union, Biden didn't show up. And I've got some weird conspiracy thoughts about that. We'll get into later, but there were some pretty key moments to that. One of them I'm going to talk about that Biden said that made the biggest impact on me. But most of the key moments I remember with Trump coming out and dropping zingers, but not even the harsh zingers, not even the crazy ones. There were a few good ones. To be honest, right in it when Joe brought up the retribution thing, he's running on retribution. Trump, I know he scripted it. Somebody in the back, Vivek was like, "Hey, here's what you say when this pops up." But he had this perfect line. He said, my retribution is America's success. I want to make America great again. And it was chef's kiss. Good job, Trump. The golf thing I thought was hilarious. And everyone's like, well, this is professional. And why are they jibber jabbing about the golf thing? To be honest, it's kind of humanizing. I'm not a golf fan. I've played before and just didn't enjoy it. Definitely can't watch it. I mean, I don't know who can watch it. I know people watch it, but I can't. And I definitely couldn't watch it if it was between Trump and Biden. Even that wouldn't get me to watch golf if they actually teed up. Although that's not a bad idea. If that's how he elected the president, it'd be pretty neat. But yeah, that part didn't bother me. It made him seem a bit human. They kind of got some jabs in about you're kind of fat and you couldn't. And he's like, your swing sucks, and I've seen it and. I like that. I like that kind of stuff. It's not so much planned. You could tell it wasn't scripted. It was off script. It's like Biden went off script on that. They both kind of did. That's the stuff I like. The moderators did oddly well. As in we weren't expecting them to do well. So it was kind of surprising that we had to point out like, hey, they seem to be pretty moderate as moderators. That was pretty cool. And so those are the things. But honestly, the debate was, I mean, it was everything we already knew. Just we didn't realize it was going to be exposed as much, and that was kind of the thing that everything came out, all the corporate press the next day, and we're going to talk about that. But talking, they're finally realizing there's something wrong with Joe, which is weird because we've been talking about this. I was talking about this for months now. I mean, everyone's been talking about this before. In 2019, we were like, "This guy seems a little off." Like, no, 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 it's a stutter. You shut your mouth. He's going to build back better. Number one, if you have a stutter, your catchphrase should not be something like "build back better," because there's you could stutter your way through that. You could turn that one phrase into like a 90-second phrase. And so terrible marketing. I don't know, but we're seeing that Joe's campaign is not well put together by just him doing this debate in general. But I want to play this clip. So the debate was cool. We all saw it, but I don't know if you saw this. This part of the non-debate was, I think, the most significant to me. And so I want to talk about that. I'm going to show this real quick. And I know this is all over Twitter, but Liberty Sean, it's a guy recently followed. He posted this, so I want to watch this real quick. And I want to get your thoughts on this guy. So this is the after party. Hold on, let me adjust this real quick. Let me do this. So this is like a pep rally right after the debate. So Joe comes out, does the debate, fails miserably. You know he's tired. They decided we should do a pump up rally, pep rally at the end of it, and Jill's there, and of course she's doing all the talking because Joe just did all the talking, and we could tell he could barely talk. But just watch this and just process this for a minute. All right.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts. And let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do? Lie!
The shrill. That's rough. I don't know why these president or these political women think shrilling is a key thing. But did you catch that? Like, if you were, I don't know how you feel about this, but that's like something you say to a kid who was at the tee, struck out a tee ball, and then had to like go sit down the bench, and their mom's like, "Hey, you know what, Johnny? You swung every time. You did it. You gave it your all. You swung. You answered all the questions." Like, wait, what? And it's just like the icing on top of the cake. That's why I pulled this out. I was like, this is outstandingly horrific. So two things about this. And to be honest, and I said this before, I was like, at some point in time, like, we all know this guy, regardless of what the media has been telling us, we all know this guy's like, he's in the late stages. He's Parkinson's, dementia, something's not firing. He's firing on like one cylinder out of the 8 or 6, whatever he had in the 4. He's a 4-cylinder, let's be honest. He's only firing on one. And everyone's been telling us no, but we all knew it. And then this is just like extra. This is like a little extra. And I felt bad. And I mentioned that way back before the State of the Union. It's been like, I keep bringing this Biden guy up. We all know he's an old grandpa who can barely make it. So part of it kind of feels bad. Like, you're just like, God, I kind of have sympathy. I mean, if you have a heart at all, you're like, God, why are they letting him do this? And then you find something like this. You're like, oh, they're not letting him do him. They're making him do it. And then it makes you feel even worse because you're like, God, this is elder abuse. Like, this is bad. They're pushing this. And honestly, his wife seems to be the ringleader of it all. So if you're wondering who's running the country, ding, 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 I think we found it. And so I had all this empathy for this old man, being like, man, this is rough. No one wants to see an old man fail, especially at the end of your life where you want to leave a good legacy and you want to be thought of well. And like, this is the last bit that you got. And I felt bad, but that feeling bad, the empathetic part of me, seems to wash away with one of his responses during the debate. I'm not going to play the clip, so you can go look at it if you're like, I want to call BS on this. But one of the moderators says, Joe, you've come out numerous times. This is paraphrasing. I don't remember exactly what it was. Joe, you've come out numerous times, and and you said that the people voting for Trump, something along the lines like they're a threat to the democracy. Do Do you believe the people voting for Trump are actual threats to democracy, undertoning the idea that they're terrorists, which is basically what he called MAGA supporters, they're domestic terrorists. They've been doing that for ever since Joe Biden got ever before Joe Biden got in when Trump was still in. They're like all these MAGA people look, and then they had J6 to go off. Everyone who votes for MAGA might as well have been a J6, even if they weren't, because they're all terrorists. They're all domestic terrorists. They all want to overthrow the government. They want to deny elections, so on and so forth. And the guy at a debate doubled down on the question. He was like, yeah, if they knew all the things, yeah, I think if they know everything about Trump and they're still voting for him, yeah, they're a threat to democracy. Bro, I'm an independent, and he just called me a threat to democracy. He basically called me a terrorist, and I don't know if I'm being like hyperbolic on that. And at first I was like, well, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. And then I was like, no, I'm not giving this guy the benefit of the doubt anymore. How many times has he had to say this? And this is like the last time, hopefully. The guy tripled down on it. He's like, yeah, half the country are terrorists. They want to threat democracy. They want to overturn Roe v. Wade, and they want to do all this tomfoolery and nonsense and all this stuff. What's up, Jack? Like it seems like he definitely hates half of America. Which is not surprising for an old man, because for old men who yell at clouds and get off my lawn, why wouldn't he hate half of America? Especially when they start making videos on Sunday nights and they title it like Pardon Will Live, and then they just make fun of them. But that's not the icing on the cake. To be honest, I've always disliked politicians. So for me to dislike a politician, this is nothing new. This is water under the bridge. Again, we've all seen this. Most of you guys are on my level. You probably understand where I'm coming from. The empathy part might be a little bit different. I know a lot of people don't have that empathetic part for the old man. But I've got a dad. He's in his, he's getting up there. He's not that old. And definitely doesn't shift his feet that way. But you gotta have some sympathy for a human. He is part of the Imago Dei, unless he's a reptilian, when that's still under debate. But for what we're going off of, he's part of the Imago Dei. He's made in God's image, so he's got a soul to him. And so it's best to just pray for his soul that he has a quiet and peaceful exit, which seems like what's about to happen. So moving on to our next clip. Actually, let's check out some comments. We got James in the comments. My buddy James coming out. It says one of them had a heart on stage. Heart on. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. I don't, to be honest, man, everyone kept saying like she's the one running the show. And I was like, maybe, but she doesn't seem like someone who would want to run a country. But from the news coming out even today, and I'm skipping ahead of my little notes here, but it seems like Biden went back to Camp David to kind of recoup from the debate. And from the news on the grapevine, it says all of his family are saying he needs to stick it out and stay in. And when they say all of his family, is that like Hunter and Jill? Like, who else is there? Is there anybody sane in that family? Is there anyone in the back? They're like, hey, that meme where the guy's leaning back at the chair at the corporate thing is like, well, what if we pull Biden out and let him retire and he gets thrown out the window? Is there anybody in that family who has a heart? Or they're just like, no, we're going to ride this wet horse into the barn and let him collapse, and we'll get every inch out of him. I don't think these people like him. I don't think Jill likes him. I definitely don't think Hunter likes him. And that can be a sad concept too. You imagine if you're the patriarchy of the family and you're hated by everybody and half the country. Oh man. Also makes strange bedfellows. And I'll bring this up. This is a weird tangent. Everyone's been talking about they thought Trump was going to announce his VP at the debate, because we all knew Vivek was there. Tim Scott, I think, was there. We were like, oh, he might actually pull out his VP card. Didn't. Just letting you know, he didn't pull out and say he didn't pull out. That's a porn star reference there. He didn't announce his VP. I gotta stop laughing at my own jokes. Sorry, guys. But I've said this before, and I do like Vivek. And I thought at first a really baller move was to get Don Jr. in and do a Trump ticket. And just create the Trump dynasty. If we're gonna write this season out like House of Dragons, let's go ahead and do it right, because it's turning out to be a pretty entertaining season. You got to admit that. Trump ticket would be pretty cool, and pretty good writing. I'm gonna put my writer's hat on real quick. I'm gonna one up you on that one. The Trump. I think. Hear me out. Don't turn the channel off yet. I think there's a crazy plot twist that we haven't seen yet that could be up the old Trumpster sleeve. Trump Biden ticket, Hunter Biden ticket. I think Trump should have Hunter Biden as VP. Here's why. I think Hunter Biden is not a big fan of his dad, especially because what he named him in his phone, that pedo Pete. I don't think Hunter likes his dad at all. I think Hunter is in the positions that he's in. I mean, he's got issues, no doubt. I wonder how many of those issues are from his dad. And so it's like, I wonder if he just resents his dad so much, but he just keeps following suit and following and doing what his dad does. And then he gets thrown in court, and he's constantly being looked at, and he's constantly being shunned upon. And Biden comes out, he's like, well, I love my son, even though he's got problems. But behind the scenes, Biden's slapping him around. Get your act together, Hunter. The wrong kid died. The Lord of the Rings. We all see that. It's the Lord of the Rings. The wrong kid died. He's Boromir, or his other son, Bo and Boromir. Oh my God, they even sound similar. So Hunter Biden's Faramir. He's pretty pissed at his dad. He goes to Trump, makes a backroom deal, goes, hey, I got all this dirt on my dad. I don't like where he's going. Sign me up. Trump brings Hunter Biden in for VP. It's a match team up. Amazing writing. James in the comments says House of Cards. He knows where my head's at. This can be great. He also says they can be cellmates. Absolutely true. They could run together from the same cell. This season is getting good. And this is why I have a problem with the Acolyte. You could have just called me. You could have called me up. What's your thoughts? I could have laid it out. We could have had a great season, but no, I'm not a person of color, minority, lesbian. So you can't call me because I'm just a white guy, a white straight guy. But sometimes these white straight guys have the best ideas. Trump Hunter 2024. Let's go. Anyway, that's that rant. So the thing I want to talk about the most, because I've never liked politicians. You probably don't like politicians. When I was growing up, there's two people that were universally despised. That was politicians and lawyers. I don't know when that switched and people started like exalting these politicians on thrones, like this person's the greatest and they're gonna save everything. I don't even think that about Trump. People ask me, I was like, you think Trump's gonna solve this in 4 years? No, I don't think you can fix this ship in 4 years. I think he may mitigate some of the downfall, but I don't think he's gonna fix this in 4 years. I think that would be asking too much of the guy. Number one, that's pretty messed up. Be like, hey, this whole train wreck that's been going for 250, fix this thing. I think we'd have to go back. I think with the help of Vivek, they get in there, they do a little melee stuff in Argentina, just start cutting Department of Education, Defense Department, just start cutting all that stuff, then we'd be on the right track really quick. But either way, I don't think think he's going to fix it. But the thing is, I've never liked politicians and I've never liked lawyers because they always seem swarmy. We used to call them ambulance chasers. It was a pejorative towards these lawyers and stuff. But something changed when we got older and everybody started accepting them and thinking they were great and hot stuff. I always didn't like politicians, but the people I've grown to dislike the most, and you guys know this, is the corporate media. Because I don't see a reason other than they're just all greedy. And then I was like, well, these got to be smart people. No, it turns out they're not smart people. They're just shills. They're just greedy. And they love to lie. I don't even think they're doing it. They're lying to get paid. I think they're starting to get off on lying. And it's digging them an early grave. So this week, seems like corporate media has been slowly digging themselves into the ground. And now they're scrambling. They're stuck between a rock and a Biden. And now they don't know what to do. So I'm going to play some clips. I had a bunch of clips sent to me. My buddy James sent me some clips. I've watched them all. I had so many clips teed up, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with all these clips. So we're just going to go to Tried and True. I saw this Thursday morning from our good friends at Morning Joe. I'm going to pull it up. I'm actually going to pull the tweet up, so hopefully this works out well. Let's go here. I'm going to pull this up, and I'm going to split screen it. Actually, we're gonna watch it first like this. I just want you to watch this. So this is Thursday. This is the morning after the debate. I'm having my coffee, about to head to work, and of course I follow Morning Joe. It's some of the best entertainment ever. And this popped up, and I was like, well, I gotta watch this. I wonder what he's saying. He's probably like, Biden did wonderful. Biden did great. Wrong. Straight up eulogy. I want you to hear. I'm gonna skip through it's like 4 minutes, so we're not gonna listen to the whole thing, but man, oh man, was this a sad day. And I skipped ahead a little bit, so we'll just start here.
over the issue of whether Joe Biden has been the most effective president in passing bipartisan legislation, in expanding NATO, in responding to the rising threat coming from China by flexing America's strength around China.
All right, you guys know I like to stop this. What? Have I just not been paying attention enough? Is he like, telling them not to attack Taiwan? Has he said anything about that? The only thing I know about China is John Cena coming out speaking Mandarin because of a movie he came out and he was trying to make sure China doesn't quash that. I don't know much about the strength, but he's going to go on and continue to lie because we know this. And these aren't even like, well, let me pull up the papers and check the stats. These are lies. Watch. What? It's not even joking anymore. Watch.
By having the strongest economy.
The what? The what? And he doesn't stop there. He doubles down. Watch.
In the world, bar none, the strongest economy, actually relative to the rest of the world.
Sure.
In 50, 60, 70 years.
50, 60. We've had the strongest economy in 50, 60, 70 years. He just started adding decades onto that. Anyway.
Strongest dollar in half a century.
Dollar in half a century.
The strongest military relative.
The strongest dollar in half the century. How strong is the dollar in your pocket right now? I don't strong as in it's not faltering. Didn't Saudi Arabia just end their deal with using US dollars as selling all their oil? Isn't that ending? We are on the verge of something this is that what's that Jim Cramer. Every time he comes out and whatever he announces is his predictions for the stock market, just do the opposite because he's wrong 100% of the time. I don't even know that guy has a show. This is what this is. Anyway, let's just keep listening because he's reading off all the accomplishments Joe Biden's done. This is like Joe Scarborough standing up at the wake and just giving his platitudes to old Joey boy. Look at their face. You can tell he's sad. Or he's fake sad. He's fake being sad. But either way.
Relative to the rest of the world, I would argue, and many others would argue, since 1945, I think his presidency has been an unqualified success.
An unqualified success. Did you see that? He lowered his head because he knows he's about to deal that final blow to the Biden campaign. Here we go.
If, however, you believe, as do I, and as do so many people who watch this program and who feel...
Look, he's having a hard time wording it properly. Like, that's how devastated he is. Dude, I want to know what this guy's Thursday night was like. That's what I want to know.
Here. Just how dark of a place a second Donald Trump term will take America, then I think it's critical that we ask the same questions about this man I love, respect, and whose public service in saving this country from Donald Trump over the last 3.5 years, I honor and always will.
All right, I can't listen to the sucking up. We're gonna skip forward because he's gonna. You guys know what he's saying. He's just gonna continue on that. The proverbial butt kissing.
Goldwater to walk over and tell Richard Nixon it was. Time and time again. We talked about the Goldwater. Where's the Barry Goldwater? To walk over and tell Richard Nixon it was over. To tell Donald Trump it was over. And now the question is, do Democrats need to do the same thing of Joe Biden?
There it is.
I mean, these are hard questions.
Are they? Are these hard questions, guys? Anyway.
But the fact is, friends, failure is just not an option. In 2024, failure is not an option. So who I love, who I respect, who I revere for their work and their duty to service over their lifetime really is not relevant. It's not relevant for any of us. It's not relevant for Democratic leaders. It's not relevant for anyone.
All right. So basically, I have a hard time. He's just dragging this whole thing on. I feel bad for you guys. So basically, he's like, "This is we gotta have a serious conversation." He's sitting America. He's sitting his old boomer Democrat audience, sitting them down and going, "We need to have a difficult conversation." But why? Why do we need to have a difficult conversation? You might ask, Joe. Joe, I don't understand what this turn of the tide is. Why are you all of a sudden sad? Like I thought Joe was doing good. We saw the State of the Union. We saw all what Karine Jean Pierre was talking about cheap fakes, where the right wing was coming out and editing these clips of Joe Biden. He's been perfectly fine. Why are you sad? Didn't you think he was doing perfectly fine? Newsflash. Yeah. He's been telling all of his audience Joe Biden's great. And we're gonna watch that because this was a tweet that morning, and I immediately underneath it responded with, "Is this you?" Let's take a look at this.
But comparing that guy's mental state,
Oh, by the way, this was 3 months ago. We covered it on the show. It was right before the State of the Union, and I played this exact clip and was like, "This guy is delusional. Like he's just lying to people. There's no way Joe Biden is coherent." And then Joe Biden came out, hopped up on whatever, and didn't do that bad of a time. So I was like, "Oh, maybe he does know something. Maybe Biden's been holding out. He's been doing the thing." So there's this old, it's a real story. There's this old gangster, part of the Five Families in New York, and he would actually fake being old. He would walk out with a robe on and slippers and a cane, and he would fake being an old, decrepit man to keep the FBI office back. But then they find out later, like after he goes inside, he's like Willy Wonka's it, throws his robe off. He's got like a three-piece suit. He's smoking cigars. He's shooting people. Hardcore gangster. Used to fake it every time he left the house. And I was like, maybe is that the gameplay that Biden's fake? What does that do? And then you find out, they were going to charge Biden for the documents case, but the doctor came out and was like, he's doesn't seem like he's with it enough to even charge him. And you're like, oh, maybe was that the play the whole time? Biden was going to act senile just so he wouldn't get charged? That seems weird. Anyway, this is 3 months ago. We covered this on the show. We're covering it again just because I want you to see this guy 3 months ago, and this tells you why he's so sad.
I've said it for years now. He's cogent. But I undersold him when I said he was cogent. He's far beyond cogent. In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been. Intellectually, analytically, because he's been around for 50 years. And, I don't know if people know this or not. Biden used to be a hothead.
Okay.
Sometimes that,
to be honest, he is, and he does spark up a little bit. He got really mad about him lying to Trump about the whole losers and suckers thing. He's like, they're not losers and suckers. My son wasn't a loser and sucker, and you're the loser and sucker. So you could tell he got a little fired. That might have been the most alive he was through the whole debate. So here's the thing. Maybe Biden's superpower is just being mad. Maybe that's it. He's only good when he's mad. He's got the Irishman thing going on. Maybe they should have just made him mad before he went on stage. Maybe every time he does anything, they just poke him. Be like, hey, your son's a crackhead, right? He's like, yeah, the wrong one died, right? And it just make him mad. And then he'd run the country further into the ground faster. Anyway.
Irishman would get in front of the reasoning. Sometimes he would say things he didn't want to say. This is, and I don't really, I don't really care. Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth.
Okay.
And F you.
Here's how you know old Joey Boy's lying. When he start the tape right now, because I'm about to tell you. I'm going to tell you the truth. That is a clear signal that he's about to not just lie, but over exaggerate his lie, because he has to announce it. I'm going to tell you the truth. That's right when you go, I'm going to tell you the truth. And then he goes into whatever spiel that's over the top, like he, I don't know, defeated cancer like Joe Biden said he was going to do in 2020. You guys remember that one too? I wonder if the Parkinson's set on early. He literally said that they were going to defeat cancer. What? How's that going? I don't know. Maybe he meant the wall. Maybe he was like, we're going to take down cancer. He just meant take down the border wall. And he just got those words mixed up the way he normally does. Anyway, let's finish up with old Joey Scarborough so we can rag on him some more.
if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever. Not a close second. And I've known him for years.
All right. That is 3 months ago, dude. James in the chat says, you can't handle the truth. Dude, here's the thing. That's actually a great comment because that's the next thing we're going to do. So all of you guys probably don't watch Morning Joe. I think I might be the only one in the room right now who's actually watched Morning Joe. And I only do it to just get clips. Here's a little how the sausage is made at Pardon Live. If I don't really have anything to talk about, all I have to do is go on Twitter, search Morning Joe, and look at their most recent clip. That's how bad it is. And if a normal schmuck like me, it'd be like, what are they talking about? Anybody can. But what I was going to say is, no one watches Morning Joe except for whatever small demographic they have in the people in the airport. That's got to be it. So I don't think anybody, but this wasn't just MSNBC. CNN's been doing this. The press secretary's been doing this. Washington Post, the New York Times, they've all been coming out. Sorry. They've all been coming up and like, Biden is a superhero. You just don't know about it. It's behind closed doors. He's doing backflips and stuff. Did you see him ride that bike? Forget about him falling off of it. But did you see him ride it? Did you see him ride the bike? Except for the part is we all saw the bike and then him falling off it and then down the stairs and then stumbling and then waving at nobody. And then, sure. So recently, old Queen John Bier came out and she termed the coin, which I was like, where did this come from? Cheap fakes. And the reason she turned that coin is because she said all of these right-wingers are taking clips of Joe Biden and deceitfully editing them to make it look like he's waving at nobody. Like, no, we're not. Like, you can watch the full clip. Like, even the big one that when this came out was the parachute one, where he's in France and he's standing there. Let's break this down real quick. He's standing. I don't have the video. I probably should have pulled it up. Whatever. I'll just tell it to you and I'll do it really quick. He's standing there with like the prime minister of France or whatever and some parachuters and they're talking and he turns and he starts to wander off. Now the camera pans with him but doesn't pan enough. And then people just stopped it and then played him like, look at him wandering off. And then MSNBC was like, no. Actually, I almost played this on one evening on Pardon Live. Joe Scarborough had to come out and go, that was wrong. Here's the rest of the clip. And Joe actually walks over to a guy on the ground packing his parachute back up. And it looks like Joe says something to him, and the guy looks up and probably waits. Heads up. I don't think Joe Biden knows French. I don't think that guy actually spoke English. But either way, cheap fake. The right-wingers cut that. Doesn't matter. Play the full clip. When I watched the full clip, the prime minister had to go and bring him back. It's like, well, Joe just wanted to go talk to this one guy. Why? You're on TV. That's like me right now. Hey guys, welcome to Pardon Live. And just get up and walking off and making another cup of coffee and then coming back. Be like, well, if you would have saw the whole clip of David getting up, you would have known he's not senile. Bro left it in the middle of the stream. Like, I get it. I get you trying to run cover. All the press secretary is a spin doctor. I don't know how she's not stuttering at this point in time. How is she not losing her mind? But that's to my next point. I am terrified for the demographics coming out that watch Morning Joe and CNN and Fox News. Throw Fox News in there too. It's just as bad. All these people are still watching. All right, let's be honest. People still watching mainstream. It's got to be like 45 and up. And we all know there's a giant population of 70 and up. These people relate to these people. They love talking about old Joey Biden. They love talking about all the seeing him go. They're like, I'm 81 and the president's the same age. You know, as they swerve into your lane. Although I don't think Biden could drive at this point. Anyway, stupid tangent. What's going to happen with them? So immediately after the debate, all these articles are coming out. Even Time Magazine has Joe Biden walking off the page and it says panic. The entire Democratic Party lost their minds at the debate because it was so obvious. I had conversations with a Biden supporter like 2 nights ago, and he was like, I don't know. He had a cold. That was the thing. They were all texting that night, being like, oh, quick, tell the press Biden has a cold. Bro, that's not a cold. I don't know how a cold glossed over that. But the thing is, they're not talking to you. They're not talking to me. Tweeting out he has a cold isn't for me. It's for all of his supporters who have fell for this. the entire time. It's for all the people who sit and watch Morning Joe every morning thinking they're not being lied to. That's what this is about. And this is what makes me nervous because for the past few years, all the news has ever told them is Biden is tip top, like Joe Scarborough. He's the best he's ever seen him. They all said that. And then they said all these right wingers and libertarians and independents who are saying, like, hey, I'm pretty sure he's got dementia. They're all just trying to lie to you to tell you something that's not real. He's doing cartwheels in the background. You just you know you just don't. Why would he do that on stage? Of course not. And now they turn around and wake up Friday morning and they're like, "Hey, we need to get rid of Joe Biden." All of them, after like taking whatever medications they probably threw their walkers. Like, what do you mean? You've been telling me he's great for a year, or 2 or 3. Am I losing it? Did I forget something? They probably have Alzheimer's too, let's be honest. But maybe they're like, "Oh, this happens to me all the time." Maybe they've been telling me the entire media apparatus shifted in one night and then pretended like they didn't lie to you for a year. And I know they're lying. I know that they know they're lying. I know that they know that I know that they're lying. What I don't think is I don't think they think their audience knew. And I think they're trying to make sure the audience doesn't lose it. And I think they are. So I'm more concerned. I hate the corporate media. They're garbage anyway. I'm very much concerned for the average Democrat American who's having this whole turntable, this thing flip. The tides have turned on them so rapidly fast. Are they going to lose it? Like, so there's this story of Brendan Straka. I don't know if you know him. Quick story. His guy started the walkaway campaign. He was a hardcore lefty. And he was going after for Biden, hated Trump, hated Trump, hated Trump. And then one day he was having an argument with a right winger. And the right winger was like, "Hey, why do you not like Trump?" And Brendan said there was this clip. He goes, "There's this clip of Trump I saw it on CNN." This is what Brendan said. "I saw it on CNN. Trump was mocking a handicap reporter by doing one of these, mocking a handicap reporter." And the guy was like, "Well, no, that's not real." He goes, "No, I saw CNN told me I saw the clip of him." He goes, "Yeah, but did you watch all the other clips? It's a common hand thing he does when he's feeling flustered, when he's mimicking someone being flustered. It had nothing to do with that reporter." And Brandon's like, I don't believe you. But there was the very fine people thing, the thing Joe Biden brought up, which Snopes came back last month and was like, "Yeah, that's debunked." He didn't say there was very fine people in referring to the white supremacists. He was saying there's very fine people in the protests, and then immediately denounced all the white supremacists. So it was just a lie. And his friend told him about that, and he was like, "No, you got to be kidding." He went and watched that clip. And after watching that, it's like he said it's like something was being ripped out of him. He went through like a severe mental thing because he instantly woke up and realized that the media that he's been watching has been lying to him this whole time. And that's what I'm wondering. Are we going to see people wake up after this? After Friday morning, everything, are we going to, or are they going to stay in it? Is this almost quite possibly a red and blue matrix pill? And I've talked to some Biden supporters after that. And here's the excuse I got from Biden supporter. One in particular I talked to recently. We're having a conversation, argument really, and he says Biden had a cold, and I said, "Well, did you not notice Biden was deteriorating before that?" And he goes, "What was your evidence?" I said, "Have you not watched anything of him for the past 3 years?" He was like, "But that's not real evidence. I only go off evidence." So what he was asking for is like a doctor to come and clinically say Biden has dementia. And people were like, a lot of people were talking to him and like, "Hey man, you can see the signs of Parkinson's just by observing him." But he will not believe it until someone, and quote unquote expert, comes out and announces it. That's what happens to these people. I don't know if it's a fear thing or they're just doubling down or they just really want the reality to be real, that they'll back all the way in the corner and go, "Until I see evidence, then I won't believe it." And then I'm not even sure if people will believe it then. And so it's a big ordeal that's happening. People are losing it. We're about to watch a clip of this is where I think we're going with it. But hopefully some people are waking up. Now recently, the Biden camp, everyone's talking like all the mainstream. You can tell that they're trying to pull this guy out. So we're going to shift over into conspiracy moment real quick. I don't think the Democrats quite knew, or the media quite knew what was going to happen So, or they would have prepped for it. They would have started easing the, hey, Biden's he's pretty old. Maybe he won't do so good in that debate. Nope. They came out and were like, nope, he is tip top. He's going to do great. Trump is a criminal. He's going to fail. He's going to. I don't think the media was in on it, but it does make me wonder if the DNC had already started planting ideas of taking Biden out of the race and replacing him. Here's a few conspiracy things. A few things about the debate that I wanted to point out. The moderators, who are from CNN, highly biased, we've heard the interviews with them beforehand, hate Trump, did a fairly even kill job. And I remember everyone I was watching at the time going through the debate being like, wow, the moderators are actually being pretty moderate. They're not being their normal CNN where they just stop Trump, and they had it rigged against Trump. They're cutting the mics off, no live audience. Everything was set up by the Biden campaign. And it seems like it's going in Trump's favor. The cutting the mics thing off seemed to actually help Trump and hurt Biden. And the way they even set up the light stage, the light was perfectly centered on Trump and was off to the side on Biden, kind of gave him a shadowy appearance. The camera angle's the same. And so it seems like whoever set the CNN studio up and put the moderators there were really trying to make Biden look bad. Here's a conspiracy. Was this planned all along to go and usher in a new candidate because they already started seeing the polls of Biden not doing good? They just didn't let the other corporate media in on it. And so now they're floundering, which I think was a bad idea. Why wouldn't, if they're all a well-oiled machine, why not do this all completely? So it's not a good theory. It's just something to think about. Because now everyone's talking about replacing Biden. The only thing is people are having a hard time trying to figure out who they're going to replace him with. James has got a comment here. I'm going to read this out. They're blaming CNN for the split screen. They are. I see that too. Dude, everyone during this debate, they're like, Biden's failing. And then all the Democrats were like, these moderators are doing horrible. And we're like, no, bro, they're just doing what they normally do. The right wing is so used to being crapped on. They're like, hey, someone's not crapping on us right now. This feels weird. And the Democrats are so used to having the upper hand. They're like, hey, something doesn't seem right. These people are being fair. It's wild. But anyway, they're talking about replacing Biden, and now news came out today that the Biden camp are not planning on replacing him. So I have no predictions. Everyone's been asking, who do you think they're going to switch him out for? They're going to do a switcheroo. A lot of people are talking about, is Kamala going to step up? Is Hillary going to come in? She seems to be doing a book tour, lost a bunch of weight from Ozempic. She probably had, Clinton anybody off in a real quick time. She's looking to get back into the game. It's time to Epstein, everybody. Could be her. Big Mike. I don't know if you guys know about him. He's a good Oprah. She would be another good candidate. So everyone's talking about all these people. Pete Buttigieg. I don't see how that is going to happen. Gavin Newsom's a big one. People are saying that he could do well. I don't see it. I think people hate California at this point in time, other than the 5 people living in California, in Hollywood. So I don't know if they're going to switch him out. Seems like he's not going anywhere. We'll see. To be honest, it's not really much of my concern. I would like for Joe Biden to stay in. So every time I see people tweeting about Joe Biden leaving, I'm like, no, I'm going to start telling people I'm going to vote for him and just really try to encourage the Democratic base to keep Biden in. And I say that again, as somebody has said, this feels like elderly abuse. It feels bad. Me even saying I want Biden to stay in feels like I'm saying something that I shouldn't be, because I should have compassion. But the bro called me a terrorist. And so gloves are off. Keep him in. See how long you can ride that horse till it can't go no more. That's what I say. But, if Clinton's looking at this, if she's eyeballing it from the backstage, I'm going to be praying for Joe. I don't know what's going to happen. So this is where we are at. This is the thing I'm worried about. I'm going to play one more clip. This is a fun one. Here's a clip I found. This is what I was talking about with the media. This is what happens when you get brainwashed by the media. And I know everyone's like, David might be a conspiracy theorist. He loves the Alex Jones. It's fun. I know truth from wrong. I know entertainment from fact. I can parse these things out fairly well. Hopefully you can too. I think you can. But this is what happens when you get brainwashed and you just lose your mind. So let me show you this clip real quick. This is one I found this week. And heads up, spoiler alert. It gets explicit towards the end. I don't want to spoil it too much because man, oh man, does it take a turn. So I just want you to, this is what I'm worried about from CNN, MSNBC. All these people are like, Joe Biden's great. And then everyone comes out and like, no, we're getting rid of him. They're like, what? And they're throwing their canes across the room, spilling their prune juice. So just watch this with me, because it's great. It's a good time. So we're going to check this out.
So here's the thing now in Arkansas and much of the South, I'm afraid, and probably every red state in the country. If you are anything other than a white, straight man.
Oh, she's not talking to me. So if this is for you guys, listen up. Especially if you're not white or straight or a man. If you're a minority or a person of color, you definitely perk your ears up, because she's got something to tell you.
Your life is in danger. Your rights are already being taken away. Wake up, people. Vote. For crying out loud. Register. Vote.
Notice that she was like, this is for everyone except for white heterosexual male. Everyone go vote. Just not that demographic. She hates that demographic. To be honest, I hate that demographic too. It's fun.
Follow what's going on. Pay attention. I don't have much longer to live in this world, so a lot of you do. For crying.
At least she admits it. She's like, I've not got long to live. This is super important to me, I think.
Out loud. Protect yourself. Protect your children. Get involved. Register. Vote.
She's getting madder. It just gets better. Yeah.
Let your voice be heard. I'd like to, if I could reach through this and grab you by the throat and tell you how important this is. And quite frankly, I marched for all this shit back in the 60s, and now I have to do it again? What the fuck is wrong with you?
That escalated quickly. I love this. I absolutely love this lady. I love this so much. Dude, the fact that she was like, it's important for you to vote. I might not be around here. And if you don't vote, oh God, you minorities, if you don't wake up now, I marched for you and you're not doing anything. Dude, she straight up blamed him. She was like, I marched in the 60s for you. You know, there's an ongoing joke where Democrats are racist, and they always have been, because, you know, the KKK and stuff like that. Bro, what? Did she? Sometimes it makes me wonder. Look at the eyes. This is what happened when you get lied to by the corporate media. And then they drop the ball and they flip the script on you, and you're just supposed to believe now. All of a sudden, all the right wingers were correct. Newsflash, we were always correct. And you guys just won't pay attention. So now you're getting mad at your own people. She's not attacking me in this video. She has nothing to say to me. She doesn't want me to vote. But all you plebs out there are too lazy to get up and vote and stayed the hand and upheld the thing that she fought for back in the day. You need to learn, fight for your own rights. These people, this is what I'm worried about, guys. Everyone talked about that white rural rage. She lives in Arkansas. This is what they were talking about. This is what General Milley was talking about. He was trying to understand white rage. It's right here. Democratic Party in Arkansas. Trying to reach to the screen and choke you out. You better vote for your rights, or I'm going to hurt you. That's these people, man. They're losing it. Everybody stay safe out there. Do not watch the media all the time. I'm telling you that. That's where I put all this on. She probably, $100 says she reads the New York Times, the Washington Post. She's not even it's not enough to be not racist. I guarantee she's anti-racist. So anti-racist, she's looped around, and now she's racist again. Anyway, you can tell she loves the minority groups. Let's kick that off. All right, this was a fun night, guys. I wanted to talk. I know everybody's talked about the debate. You guys are probably all debated out. Next one's coming up in September. God willing, Biden will be there. I really do hope that would, if I could have one thing, it would be Biden and Trump going at it again. That would be the best. I'll definitely be covering that too. We got an important message coming back from James. Peeking in here says, watch Pardonable Podcast. Definitely do that. See, he knows. Like and subscribe. You jabroni, share this around with your friends. Going to be looking to be streaming on more platforms. Whatever you're on this, just follow it down. Got a bunch of stuff coming up down the pipeline. I wanted to end this out with the boys. talking about The Boys, since we're definitely not going to talk about The Acolyte. Real fast, I'm not going to go long into it. Last week I talked about The Boys because a big thing came out and about the writing was all anti-right wing. They're making fun of all the right wing people, and just putting in all this symbolism to invoke anger towards the right wing and Homelander's Trump. And I told you at the time, I was like, if you don't like it, you feel like you're being made fun of, don't watch it. But it's just a caricature. I was saying they're making caricatures of the right wing, and they're putting out things. They don't really know what the right wing is. They don't know who they are. They don't understand their ideas or their arguments because they don't listen. And there's no one around to tell them because they're inside of a giant bubble. So they're inside of their bubble. They're like, oh, everyone who likes Trump must be like Trump, whatever. And then this recent episode that came out, I was like, well, if we're talking about symbolism, this one's pretty interesting. So spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the recent episode of The Boys, I'm not going to spoil it too hard. It's not that big of a spoil. But one of the characters who's on the left side politically, the good side, according to The Boys, is an old guy. And he has a stroke and he has brain damage and he's in a hospital bed. So we're talking about symbolism here. Who does that remind you of? Old guy, brain dead, in a hospital bed. But the main character is his family. He doesn't want him to die. So he takes the super soldier serum, Marvel reference, the V, and he steals it and he's going to give it to him so he can bring him back to life. Right? Dead guy, doesn't have much going on. They're going to juice him up. What does this sound like? Anyway, lo and behold, they argue about it. Maybe they shouldn't. Maybe they should. They don't want to do something where they do it anyway. And he comes back and he's like on tip top of his game, right? He's got the super suit, not showing any signs of anything yet, but super cogent is what Joe Scarborough would say. Comes back, and then after about 10 minutes, because he's been brain dead for like a week, his brain loses it, and he starts teleporting and reappearing inside of people and blowing them to bits because it's superpowers. And he just starts massacring this entire hospital because he's lost his mind. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't recognize his son. He's just teleporting and in and out and running and just killing people on accident, sort of not on accident. And he has Alzheimer's, so he doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know what happened. He keeps looking down like, what's all this blood? And then he freaks out and then accidentally kills another person. If we're going to go strictly symbolism, guys, I don't think The Boys, I think they're playing the long game. Let's just say that. So next time you watch The Boys and it gets to this part in the story, if I was a writer and they were like, we wrote a Trump character, can you write a Biden one? Somebody in that writer's room was having a good time. And so I think they wrote a Biden character who has Alzheimer's, in a coma. They give him super serum, they juice him up, and then he kills everything and does a way worse job. And that came out last week right before the debate. What kind of cool simulation do we live in? See, this is the checkmate, atheists. If you don't think there is a God, and this stuff is not just written in the stars, I don't know what to tell you. Because this is turning out to be one heck of a season in real life and in The Boys. Anyway, guys, hope you guys have a wonderful week. Hope you guys are going to stay safe. I don't know any news. There's going to be some news coming. Oh, it's 4th of July. Everybody have a good time. Hopefully you take time off. Not too much time off because you don't know this, but if anything more than a 3-day weekend, if it's not spent working, you're a waste of society. So definitely vacations should be frowned upon. That's my stance. I know it's controversial. Don't take too much time off. Enjoy it, celebrate America because America's great, and then get back to work the way Americans would. That's what I say. Anyway, still trying to come up with a catchphrase. I think I've landed on, since I've called all y'all jabronis. Here's my sign off. Everybody have a wonderful week, and God bless you, jabronis.